Alright, we're going to try this while I'm driving. So good afternoon, everybody. How y'all been doing out there? My week's been one that I just assumed forget. Wanted to stick my head underneath the pillow and just sleep for the rest of the week. Pretty rough. So, I know my wife's been going through some stuff, and some of you YouTubers out there been having a pretty rough week, so I don't know exactly what's going on out there in the atmosphere of the world, but, you know, things out there that we probably can't, things out there we can't control, but what we can control is our, reaction to all this stuff. And, normally I'm pretty good, and I can put a pretty good amount of weight on my shoulders, but yesterday, pretty much came to my breaking point almost, just, dealing with things, moving, and, finally get moved, and, the finances that deal with that, and the lack thereof, and the business, and this, that, and the other thing. There's always something coming up. But, I'm remembered, or I remember, the Old Testament. That's what, God gave it for us for. Obviously there's Job. He persevered through his persecutions and through his trials and tribulations. Daniel was thrown into the lion den and trusted solely upon God to get him out of that. And, the lion slept throughout the night. Job came out with much more than what he lost because he trusted God and he sought and leaned upon God's understanding and not his own. He didn't try to get himself out of it, but went to God. David, in a multitude of times when Saul was after him to kill him, once again leaned towards God's understanding instead of his own. And, God protected him. And that's what we need to do. We need to be able to, when we're in the middle of these situations and trials and tribulations, we need to be able to say, hey, these things are going on, but, I'm a child of God, and I believe that God is going to lead me through this, whether it's of my own fruition or not. Because a lot of times what will happen is we'll get ourselves into these predicaments, and, it's a learning period process is what it really is. God's allowing us to see our own weaknesses. Whether it be us that put ourselves there, if it would be an actual trial from the Lord, or an attack from the enemy, we just have to always make sure that we're looking towards heaven. And, Jesus, he hung on the cross. I'm sure that wasn't something that he was wanted to really do. If you remember in the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, hey, let this go before me, but not my will, but your will be done, Lord. And sometimes we say that, your will be done in our lives, Lord, but are we really willing to go through or to live in God's will rather than our own? Because God's will a lot of times isn't comfortable. It's not comfortable at all. Sometimes you starve, sometimes you go without, but God is there to give out his hand of provision and his guidance so that we don't have to worry about anything in this life, what's to come. 2012 is fast approaching, and all we're going to hear is all these wackos out there talking about all these Mayan prophecies and aliens and the end of the world and apocalypse, and who knows? What if it is all true? There's not a darn thing any of us can do about it but look towards God, be a vessel for him, be a mouthpiece, instead of worrying about it, sitting back and getting mad, getting upset. Each of us have different ways of dealing with things, and sometimes it's the way that we deal with it that God's trying to show us, hey, you don't need to drown your sorrows in anger or alcohol or whatever your vice may be. Put your burden upon me. What is it? Our burden is light. Put it upon Jesus. That's what he's there for. Play praise and worship music, I stayed up late last night and, had some on while I was doing some work. Instead of going to bed early just to get a little crack in the atmosphere, a little something different than the oppression I was feeling. So, and sometimes it helps to communicate with your loved one as well, which, you know, I really didn't do. My own fault, probably. She'll understand. Anyways, I just want to encourage all of you to hang tight, grab on to Jesus' cloak, and allow Him to help you pull you through it. Don't try to do it on your own, because you'll just end up in a worse situation. So hang in there. It's only going to get worse, but with God it doesn't really matter. He'll pull us through there.